Well, welcome to the 15th episode of the ILCMA Local Gov Stories podcast, a podcast dedicated to the profession of local government professionals throughout the state of Illinois, where we shine a spotlight on our membership from across the state. And today, Melanie, our co-host here, I'm Jim Moran, by the way, co-host of ILCMA Local Gov Stories, along with the star of the show, Melanie Santostefano.
No,
Melanie,
no, no. The stars are the people we get to interview. Those are our big stars.
you are correct. And actually, today I'm really excited because we have two really big stars joining us. We have the village administrator of the Village of Glen Carbon, which is in the Metro East area of the state of Illinois. And you couldn't get much further away. Our other guest is from Fox Lake, up by us in Antioch, as far north as you could get in the state of Illinois. We have the Community and Economic Development Director for Fox Lake, who has a really cool story about her career. She's one of those mid-career transition people into local government. She's also in her first director role and kicking it in Fox Lake. They have a lot of exciting development going on, and we'll touch on that in our conversation a little bit later on today. But
Cool.
Melanie, it's great to see you. Summer is flying by. How's your summer been?
It has been excellent. Very busy, certainly with work. Got a little travel in, a little travel yet to do before it's over. But went to Ann Arbor, Michigan for my son's water polo qualifying tournament for Junior Olympics, which was super exciting. And now he's headed to Boston soon, and I'm going with him to a 3-day water polo camp at Harvard University in partnership with Nike. So I'm expecting this is going to be an amazing opportunity to kind of nurture his love for water polo. So yeah, we're
Wow.
headed to Boston in a little while. It's exciting.
That is very exciting. You have a busy summer, and especially doing communications or anything in local government. Summer, it's always a busy time of year, no matter what time of year it is. But summer is especially busy.
Yeah.
I know up in Antioch, like this when we have all our concerts. We had a Marshall Tucker Band concert last month, which was cool, and just a lot of stuff going on. But we've had a chance to get away also. We were
Oh,
out in California last month, in Iowa a couple weeks ago, and one of the things, Melanie, I don't know if you do this when you're out somewhere. I love to take a look at how other local governments function wherever I go. That's my
I do
favorite
too.
part of
I do that.
traveling.
Yeah.
And little stuff like how they maintain parks, or what their public works trucks look like, or what their like right now we're in the process of moving village halls, and I
Yeah.
like to see how the landscaping is done at other village halls, and like little things like that, and just wayfinding signs and
Yeah.
things.
Oh, I noticed that too, but I'm very big on the communications part. So I like check out their newsletter, like look at their socials, like see how they do it, just to see other people's ways of doing things. So yeah, it is interesting. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who do that too. Like you go to a town and you're like, oh, why are they doing that way? Or wow, they're amazing. Look at that. So it's kind of nice you have the perspective, coming into a different place.
Yeah, well, then you head back to your next staff meeting with great ideas, and everyone thinks you're brilliant.
Yeah. So, with summer, there are a few events left this summer before the summer. And like, when does summer end? When school starts? And that's like mid-August-ish,
Yeah.
depending, or a little later, depending on the school district. But Wednesday for events for ILCMA and other associated organization members, Wednesday, August 13th from 6 to 10, IAMA, which is always has a fun social calendar going, mini golf and drinks. Wednesday, August 27th from 6:30 to 9, IAMA is hosting a gathering at the Kane County Cougars game. That sounds fun. Also, for those of you, I've gone to IML before and I know I've seen managers, administrators there, and even department heads too, in addition to obviously mayors and other elected officials. But IML is coming up. That's Thursday, September 18th through the 20th, which is Saturday at the Hyatt Regency Chicago. This is their second year there as a newer venue.
Did you see
Um,
who the keynote speaker is for the IML convention?
I didn't take a peek at that yet. Who is it?
Mike Singletary.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I had registered to go already, but when I
Yeah.
saw Mike Singletary was going, I'm like, oh, I'm not missing
Be
that session.
interesting. That should definitely be
Yeah.
interesting. And then following that, and actually last year I remember these two are right next to each other, but they're spaced apart more this year. So on Sunday, October 25th through Wednesday, October 29th is ICMA annual conference, which is at the Tampa Bay Convention Center. So get those on your calendar. And then just to give you a really long stretch of time to plan for the next ILCMA conference, That is February 13th or 11th through 13th, rather. That is a Wednesday through Friday, as we kind of normally would do for winter conference. And that is back at the Marriott Normal. So get those dates on your calendar if you want to get out and mingle with your peers and share thoughts and ideas and challenges and solutions and all the good stuff that happens when networking takes place. So yeah, so those are our events coming up. Just give people a heads up on those.
Well, it's some exciting things, and I hope to see everybody at IML. And you had mentioned too the ICMA conference last year. IML, they were right on top of each other, so we didn't
Sure.
see a lot of people at IML because they were at ICMA. So
Yeah.
hopefully, we'll see a lot of our friends at both, and then planning ahead for winter conference. Uh,
Mhm.
it's going to be here before you know it.
It
So
is. It is. That's why I'm giving them a heads up because you're gonna look up and it's already like December. So what I want to do is actually just preview my interview with Jamie Bowden, and he is from Glen Carbon, just outside of St. Louis, for those of you who haven't been down there. Jamie's gonna tell us a little bit about some big decisions coming in Glen Carbon, as well as how he entered the profession and talk about his 37 years working in administration, which is hugely impressive. So we'll go to that. Today, I have the chance to be with Jamie Bowden. He is the village administrator for the Village of Glen Carbon, which is located roughly about 30 minutes northeast of St. Louis. Is that right? All
Yes,
right. So thank you for being here, Jamie. We're glad to have you. Um,
glad to be here.
yeah, well, let's get right into it. I know in previous conversations we've had, you have had quite a lengthy career in local government. It's what, 37 years, correct?
Yes, yes.
And worked in a couple states even. So you've jumped states even to have this type of role. Tell us a little bit about that.
Most of my experience has been in the state of Illinois. My first administrator job was in Missouri, outside of Kansas City, a small town called Lexington, about 4,500 uh, um, population, about 4,500. And then I moved to Central Illinois and worked outside of Decatur in a small village called Mount Zion. And then transitioned into the Chicago metro area and worked in village of East Dundee and the village of Shanahan, which was outside of Joliet. And then this position I transitioned into in 2011 as the first village administrator.
And that is interesting in and of itself. I know, we chatted about it, and so you really do in that type of situation, you really do kind of create the blueprint for what your role is. So talk a little bit about that coming in as the very first and that process that you went through to determine what maybe was going all right, but what needed to change and all the things.
Well, I give some credit to the community, the village. They made a decision, the mayor at the time. There were a couple retirements. One was the director of public works, one was the director of building and zoning, and thought it was a good time to transition into a village administrator position, and there was support from the board. Um, that mayor was a gentleman named Ram Jackstad. He was familiar with that type of governmental structure, and they proceeded to put it up. And there was support from the board and the community to support the position. Usually these positions can be a little bit more difficult because the community doesn't know how they operate, but the community supported it. And it took a bit, it took some time for some of the things that I thought needed to be done to the organization. And that had to do with building some credibility and slowly professionalizing the organization. And so they did give me the ability with their support to look at hiring our first director of public works that was an actual civil engineer, licensed civil engineer. We hired a new police chief, new finance director. We changed the building and zoning administrator to the community development director. So there was a support to professionalize, and that made it a lot easier to maintain my tenure here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, having everybody on board with similar vision or same vision even.
Yes.
Gosh, that sounds like a blessing to me. Sometimes you don't have that, as you mentioned. Um, So it's been 12 years there
Mhm.
in Glen Carbon. Talk a little bit about Glen Carbon. I know you have SIUE there, so that's kind
Mhm.
of a big thing, right? Kind of has an effect on many things.
Yeah, as you said, and the neighboring community is Edwardsville. We're approximately 14,000 in population. They're, I think, in excess of 25,000. Edwardsville is the Madison County seat. So there is a lot of, I would say, activity, synergy around this area. We, I would say we have a joint economy. It's hard to determine where the boundaries are because of the retail and commercial development. We do have a good relationship with Edwardsville, though, even though we're in competition, and that relationship has evolved over time, a cooperative relationship.
That's right.
You mentioned SIUE. SIUE is located right here at our doorstep. That's about 14,000 students. So it's a great community to live, work, and play. A lot of people do work in Madison County, but there is some commuting, to the St. Louis area. We have a mix of single family residential, and we're seeing some growth in the multifamily. The biggest sector of growth is commercial development. Seems to be the place to build commercial development, and Edwardsville has been good at that, at promoting that. So, and the other thing is we've been working on our master park plan. There's a great trail system, Madison County transit system. So it's been very positive.
Yeah, that and I know of that trail system because I did spend several months in Edwardsville, and it's wonderful how it just connects everything. And we even talked about this. You can head up to different towns through this trail system even, right? So that's kind of nice if you want to be on a bike or take a really long walk or run, that there's that connectivity. So talk a little bit more. I know you mentioned housing. So there is a trend you're seeing too. What do we call it? Executive style living, is it?
Yes, I mean, we're seeing some, well, push for some multifamily. So we've built some multifamily. We're seeing a little bit more push of that. There seems to be a little bit of push of maintenance-free executive style living. We've seen two developments, and not giant developments, where the developer creates a neighborhood that's maintenance free. You purchase the home, but you don't have to maintain the sidewalk, the grass. That's taken care of by that organization of the HOA. So individuals can come in, live, own the home, not have to worry about upkeep. That's taking landscaping, grass, everything's taken care of by the association. And it's there's single family and call them townhomes, side by sides. There seems to be a little bit of a push of that, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's how I live. I'm living in the executive style. I hadn't called it that before, but that's what I do. I have that as well. It's nice and convenient. Um, so let's see what else. I know that you have a big decision coming, and dealing with a topic and an issue that many municipalities across Illinois are approaching and dealing with presently, your infrastructure, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got here, the one thing we helped develop, and it was with the support of the board and the public works director, is um, focusing on improvements to infrastructure. And we created a capital improvements plan, which they didn't necessarily have a detailed plan, which addresses roads, sewer and water, and also acquisition of vehicles and equipment. And so we've developed that over time. But the one thing that we're involved in right now is the village has never only owns its utilities distribution system. It's sewer and water. Never never had a water plant. Has purchased the water either from Edwardsville or American Illinois Water, and we're looking at acquiring some property and building a new water plant. And we're at a point where we're probably going to make that decision in the next 60 or 90 days. It's been a long process. Because it just that dealing with the EPA, and we're looking at, we were with Edwardsville, we went to Illinois American Water to purchase the water, so there was a transfer of type of treatment of water, so there was some um, I don't want to say issues, but we had to go through a testing of that, and then you have the EPA being involved in the approval of it, and the biggest issue is funding. So we're going to figure out funding hopefully in the next 60, 90 days. Now, the two decisions, we have three decisions, but one is to sell the system, but I do not believe we will be selling the system. Will be to either build the plant or get a long-term contract for purchase of the water with the Illinois American Water.
And that water source, if you were to go in that direction, is from the Mississippi, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Up in the north part, we're Lake Michiganers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess I don't know where the dividing line would be. So that's interesting. So that is a big decision. And when we had a previous chat about it, it's you look at the dollars and cents of are we spending as much money over here as we could with building our own, and then you have more control, right?
Right. Yeah, well, we're looking at a number of things. Obviously, the cost of it, and the effect and cost of building it, and the effect on the individual user of the rate. So there's a financial component of it. What financially makes sense, but that's also in conjunction with the control over the system. We believe we can service the customers better by controlling the distribution system and the production, because we're more directly accountable than a private company. So if we do go to purchase the water, we go to long-term contract, we'll probably keep the distribution system because that gives us some control over maintenance of that system and portion of the rate.
Yeah. So lots of decisions ahead, big decisions, but it sounds to me like you have really created a very strong foundation there. So once you decide to ride off in the sunset, they'll be coming into a nice process and system that sounds very organized, and you're working on the things you need to. Switching gears, so part of the angle of the podcast is to help to usher in the next generation of local government leaders. So if you were speaking to a young person who is considering going into local government, what sort of insights would you offer as far as your experiences in how to, lead a community? It's a pretty big job.
I think I would suggest anybody that's interested in getting into it to attend a number of their community's board meetings, and maybe try to make appointments with the mayor, or if there's an administrator, the administrator, to have some discussions with it. You can go online too, and just other communities, they stream their meetings, so it's easier to kind of gauge on how local government works from a policy standpoint. That will give them some flavor on how this actually works, because most people, as long as things are going well and in their lives, don't usually get involved in local government or decisions. But that's the first thing I would do. And nowadays you have so many different resources to do that. Virtual, you can show up, but it's a lot easier to really gauge that than back in my day. You'd have to show up the meeting. You didn't have the ability to go online to look at a meeting somewhere in the state or in the nation. But that's what I would do.
Yeah, that's an excellent suggestion. I like that too. If you don't want to like make yourself, appear at a meeting and everyone's like, who's this person? Even being able to watch online. Greatest. And also too, reaching out. I know a great handful of leaders across Illinois, and I don't know one who wouldn't say yes to a young person reaching out to say, can I learn more about this role? I think I might want to lead a community someday. I can imagine none of them saying or turning that person down. So that's an awesome suggestion as well. So if you're out there, call your local leader if you want to learn more. Anything else you want to tell us about Glen Carbon or your experience in local government?
Well, I think it's key. I mean, obviously your personality and your character. You really need to be able to, and I learned this over time. You don't really learn this um, in school, is communicating. And communicating means listening, not necessarily reacting. And that's
Mhm.
listening to citizens, employees, and trustees before you react. So listen and depend on those individuals that work under you, that if you select it or not, for their expertise before you react or make a decision. The other
Mhm.
thing is, I really am thankful for the board, most of the boards I've worked for that have the vision and the support of staff, because this doesn't get done without the support of the mayor and the six trustees and the community. They seem to have the vision um, that's aligned with the way we're going. We've done some strategic planning, so I really want to give them kudos, and particularly in my career, I would say most boards have been supportive, but you get involved in politics, and that's bound to happen.
Yeah.
But don't personalize it, and you can't, you know,
Yeah.
and that's hard to do. But also stay in touch with your colleagues in the area and the state. They're good resources too.
Absolutely. Come to conferences, attend professional development events, share your stories with people. Everyone can learn from everybody, no matter what career you're in, really. Yeah, good suggestion. Have a little bit of thick skin and be able to understand who you need to be connected with, your community members, your elected
Mhm.
officials, making sure they're clarifying the vision to execute the vision. And of course, all the team members that make everything happen every day. Local government is just fascinating to me. I just, there's so many moving parts. And I have such high respect for leaders, especially top at the top, because you really do have to have an eye on everything. It's like your head kind of needs to be a bit on a swivel, always looking around, making sure everything's working for your community. So, well, Jamie, thank you so much for sharing more about your background, about Glen Carbon, and some things that you're working on and things that are happening in town. And thanks for being on the Local Gov Stories podcast.
Thank you for having me. I enjoy it, and I'll do it anytime. So
All right. Well, we might ask you back someday.
yeah,
All right. Thank
it's
you.
good seeing you, and thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Jamie had some great advice there, Melanie, for folks looking to get into the profession.
Yeah.
Talking about attending community board meetings or reaching out to the mayor, getting involved with some of the local leaders where you live, and also talking about the personality and character traits that make for a good leader. And depending on those who work under you and their expertise, that
Yeah.
is something that really resonated with me because whenever I see a good administrator, they have a good staff under them. And not only do they have a good staff, the important thing is realizing how good your staff is and depending on them to be the subject matter experts in what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved like you. I love that advice. I thought it was just very to the point and like go straight to the source. Like don't read about it, don't call AI and tell me what it means to be an administrator. Like see it in action. It's an excellent suggestion. And as you mentioned too, it's nice that you can watch a live stream video if you don't really want to go into the meeting and reaching out to people. So I
Well,
love
in
that.
that
And there's just like a lot going on in Glen Carbon too. It just seems like a bustling little area right next to Edwardsville. We worked there for several months. A couple years back, and they're both really nice towns. Lots of retail, restaurants. It's just bustling. It's growing, both of them.
in the residential growth and the multi-unit executive living,
Oh, I love
that's
that.
that's my next step. I don't want to shovel snow or
Yeah,
trim
you got to
bushes.
become an executive like me. No, I can't. No, but I do have that where, like I mentioned in the interview with where I live, and it's really convenient. Just not have to worry about snow and leaves and all the landscaping and all of that. So it's kind of nice, worry free, if you want that. So yeah. So Jamie was really great. And then you had a chance to talk with Jodi,
Jodi Luka
yeah,
is the
from
Community and Economic Development Director for the Village of Fox Lake. I've known Jodi for a while, and I met her through ILCMA, actually, even though
yeah,
neighbors, but it was before she even worked in Fox Lake when she was in Gurnee. I got to know her. And Jodi not only has a great story about her getting into the profession and her professional backstory. But the accomplishments just in the time she's been in Fox Lake, this is her first director role, and she's really doing some great things for the village. Village of Fox Lake's very lucky to have Jodi in place in this role because she is executing on not only the economic development side of attracting businesses and the branding and all, and to me, that's where my passion is. But the other side, where personally when it comes to zoning and stuff, that's my most deficient part of anything that local government related, and I just don't have a passion for zoning laws. I have an appreciation, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong,
for sure. Yeah.
but the passion and knowledge I don't have. But she not only has the knowledge, she is executing on all levels in making the village of Fox Lake a better place. Joined today with Jodi Luka, the Community and Economic Development Director for the Village of Fox Lake. Jodi, it is a pleasure to have you here because not only are you a friend, I know it feels like forever now. I'm a big fan of your work and I'm excited to share what you're doing in Fox Lake and also your career path, which is equally as cool. We get to share it with the ILCMA community. So, Jodi, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Jim, for having me. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. So before we get into everything you've got going on in Fox Lake, which is a lot, by the way, the new park that just opened up is very cool. There's a lot of good things happening
Thank
in
you.
Fox Lake. You guys just went through a rebrand, got a comprehensive plan put together, a whole bunch of other stuff Jodi's been involved with. Like I said, we're going to touch on that in a minute. But first, I want to talk about your career and your career path. Not only is Jodi a newer director, you've been the Community and Economic Development Director in Fox Lake for about a year and a half. You're also a non-traditional public employee where you had a whole career doing something else before you got involved with local government. And I want to hear about what you were doing before and the transition into local government, the whys and how you did it. And are you happy? Are you glad you did it?
Yeah, so I absolutely am happy and very glad I made the transition. I do have a very non-traditional route to where I'm at right now. I like to call that my past life. So in my previous life, I was a certified sign language interpreter and did that for almost 15 years. And I have a bachelor's degree from the University of South Florida in educational interpreting, so specializing in the educational system. When I graduated from there, I moved to Washington, D.C. to be an interpreter in that area. That's the mecca for anybody in our field, especially with Gallaudet University there, which is the only deaf university in the world. And I did work for Gallaudet while I was there for about a year, but I spent most of my time working for an interpreting agency that provided subcontracting interpreting services with the university over in DC with Gallaudet. There are deaf folks at all levels of employment, all levels of government. Small fun fact, I did have a security clearance. It was a low level clearance, but I had security clearance when I lived in DC. And so that was pretty cool. I saw a lot of behind the scenes on our federal level of government going on there. But lived in DC for a couple of years and then moved to Florida, which went back home for a little bit and then ended up here in Chicago as I got an opportunity to be an adjunct instructor at Columbia College. And so at that point, I was already working as a freelance interpreter and thought, well, why not? I was in my late 20s, had no reason not to, and came up here as a adjunct instructor for Columbia College, and then knew that I could get my freelancing business going on its own. So I did that for quite some time, and the technology has done some great things for the deaf community. It's provide access to interpreting services where people wouldn't normally have it, whether it be odd hours of the nights, more rural areas. Interpreting requires a high level of skill and specialty in certain areas. And if you're a new graduate, if you haven't immersed yourself in the language, then your fluency may not be there to be able to walk into, and it definitely isn't there to walk into a courtroom, to a doctor's office, things like that. It took some time to really get to being able to work at that level. Technology has done some great things for the deaf community, and it was, like I said, provides some opportunities for folks in rural areas to have interpreting services that they just wouldn't have. It also video relay service, so making phone calls and having an interpreter versus that old-fashioned TTY that was just typing the message from became available. And I did spend a lot of time in call centers answering calls, providing interpreting services for topics that I wasn't sure what it was going to pop up. And that wasn't the problem, but I really missed the three-dimensional person. Um, and again, the technology is wonderful. It's done some great things. It just wasn't for me. At that point, I had spent almost 15 years in the field, and I realized this is the path that it should go in. It needs to go in under a lot of circumstances, but I wasn't feeling it. So I went back to an old passion that I had, which was government. I remember telling a friend of mine, my friend's dad asked us, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be a lobbyist because I had just learned what that was in school, advocating for something that was right. And I didn't know what I wanted to be, what kind of lobbyist, but I wanted to be essentially in government. And so he looked at me and said, lobbyists won't be needed when you're older. So whatever reason, I drank the Kool-Aid he gave me, and that thought kind of went out. So when I was looking at what I wanted to do in my next life, the idea of local government or just government in general came back to the forefront, especially dipping my toe in DC and then specializing in legal and medical interpreting, the legal side of it. So at that point, the Lake County Courthouse was hiring for a jury coordinator. And, reality is who has jury duty experience? Not very many people. So I decided to throw my hat in the ring, and they asked me why. And I said, kind of told them that I was looking to change paths, and they knew my work ethic. So they took a chance on me, and I joined the Lake County government as the jury coordinator. And while I was there, I got my master's degree in public administration and policy from American University. And so from that was how I was able to make my transition.
And you worked for the county, and then eventually you got hired by Gurnee for the fire department, right? You were a management analyst with the Gurnee Fire Department.
Correct, I
And
was. We did. So I made that looking for an opportunity to grow, and especially, for any of the young grads out there, the new grads, I should say, because I wasn't young, but for the new grads out there, yeah, looking for an opportunity, especially in local government, that was there with the with the Village of Gurnee under the fire department as a management analyst, and it was a project-based position. I had a few key initiatives that I was hoping to work on and accomplish, and I did accomplish those. Some of them were implementing new scheduling software for the fire departments and their shifts. It was implementing a new inspection software for fire department annual inspections. And then the big one is the third fire station off of Milwaukee, off Route 21, and Manchester was a big part of. I was involved deeply with that, and I'm proud of that project and that fire station. It came out on time and on budget during COVID. So huge win.
wow,
Yeah.
I hope that leads your resume. That's very impressive. And
It may be on there. Oh, good.
so impressive. So you were I guess jumped right into several projects with the fire department as a management analyst, and then you moved on to the economic development or community and economic development department at Gurnee. Was it just economic development?
So simultaneously, while working with the fire department, I got involved in some projects with economic development, and I loved it. I love the idea behind it, the passion. The director that I worked with, Ellen Dean, was amazing. The passion that she has for the job that she does is contagious, and I can thank her for a lot of hopefully the attributes that I do bring to this role as well. So I worked with alongside her for a couple projects and really just loved it and tried to make my way over there more and more. And as my targeted assignments for the fire department started to get accomplished and were done, the Village of Gurnee gave me the opportunity to move over full time to community and economic development over there. So I worked with both departments because they are separate. Although they work hand in hand very much, there's two different directors.
Yeah, and I got to say, Gurnee is a very exciting town to be involved with economic development because there's so much going on there. Here in Lake County, it's the economic development driver of our entire
Right.
county. And so you were in Gurnee, and then an opportunity popped up for you to go to Fox Lake and become a director of your own department. Tell me about making the switch to your first director level role.
Yeah, so again, looking for an opportunity for advancement. And when this opportunity here at Fox Lake came up, and one of the things that was exciting for me was the whole idea that there were new department heads. To me, that meant a new vision coming to town and the opportunity to take Fox Lake and help bring it in a new direction. And so with that, you know, in the interview process, the interview is both ways, right? And so my thoughts and hopes were solidified during all of that. And really, I have been met with a ton of support in looking to take Fox Lake in the direction that it has the potential to be in. You know, we are here surrounded by lakes. We've got a huge visitor population, although our residential population is a little under 12,000 people. We have about 1 million visitors a year. The village, when I had started, was in the middle of construction for their lakefront park, which was about a $12.5 million project that completed at the end of last year. And this year has been open for its first time. We host our Friday night concert series. They've been wildly successful. We partner with our local businesses for those concerts. We've paired up our artisan market to be just a couple hours before the concerts get started, so things kind of lead to. And while all of this is going on, the splash pad and the park are full. They're full of children, our youth. You hear the giggles, you hear the smile, you see the smiles. And they are able to stop at the ice cream truck that's here for the Friday night concert and grab some delicious treat as well. So that's just our Friday nights, but anytime right now you can drive by our brand new park and it is full. The community and the outreach that we are hearing, they're loving it.
So you hit the ground running when you started in Fox Lake with pretty much mostly new directors. And how do you, in a situation like that, it could be very intimidating. How do you know, I guess, first of all, where to even start? Because you're doing economic development, business recruitment, working with the local businesses that are existing, and also community development and zoning and building inspections and all that. You're the go-to person for all of that. And you did a lot of reorganization in the last year and a half of processes and things like that. How do you know where to start, especially in a new role in a new town and all that?
That's a great question. There's, you know, I have to thank our professional network that we have, especially with ILCMA, with IAMA, with APA, and all of this, for just having the ability to make those relationships and resources. So I want to take that and just kind of put it on hold right here because it is part of my answer. But when you sit and you just talk to our local business community, we are primarily small businesses. So when I came here, aside from obviously meeting with our mayor and hearing his initiatives and learning what the trustees wanted, I met with our businesses to listen to their positives and where they could see some improvement, and so really got to know who a lot of them were pretty quickly, and understanding that they all have this vision and this drive to move the village forward, but they didn't have materials to do it. So that was one thing that I saw as an impediment. And by materials, I mean literally like marketing materials. Who are we when we go somewhere? The village had already set up multiple TIF districts, so I had those tools, but not necessarily the materials. And early on, the mayor said, our comprehensive plan is old, so we need a new one. That was a great way to give me some guidance on where to start on that whole bigger vision and how to move us forward. So we went out for our RFP and partnered with the Lakota group. We will be wrapping up our comprehensive plan in September. It is scheduled to go before planning and zoning as well as the village board. In the process of working on the comprehensive plan, it was decided that we needed to spend more than just the chapter on our downtown. Our downtown is walking distance to this brand new park. It is the bones of a quintessential downtown. We have a train line access. We are the last stop on the train line here. And so we decided to then add on the downtown master plan. So both the master plan and the comprehensive plan will be done and presented to planning and zoning in September, as well as the village board. So this has been a great initiative to work on to really provide that vision and get everybody, all of our new directors, our newer village administrator, our mayor, our trustees on board with where we're going. Obviously, anybody in local government knows these take a tremendous amount of work, stakeholder engagement sessions. And so it has been wonderful really getting to know the community during this outreach as well. So we have that going for us. In the meantime, we have created our whole This is the Life Fox Lake campaign, which has brought a ton of materials. It's given us a website so developers and investors can see who we are, what we offer, properties that are available, current developments that are going on. It's a one-stop shop to find out everything that's going on. Over the last couple months, we've deployed our social media accounts, and our follower base is growing with all of that. And people are now starting to see that Fox Lake is a player at the table that means business when it comes to bringing in business. So in the time that I've been here, we've been able to recruit and get a 154 unit market rate apartment complex to pass through all of the entitlement processes through its own PUD. With that was a redevelopment agreement as well, because it is in a TIF district. So that's very exciting for us. This is new housing that we just haven't had in an extremely long amount of time. It's well overdue. We've got a new Honda dealership that's in construction now, and it's been a project that's been trying to get through since pre-COVID. So very excited that shovels are in the ground and it's under construction. We've got 18 townhomes coming, it's 3 different buildings, 6 units are on the water and 2 other buildings are perpendicular to it. So we've got a lot moving forward here in town, with the vision of our comprehensive plan with that being complete pretty soon, and the downtown master plan. We're going to be able to take that vision and this excitement and share it with the developer and investor community and say, come to Fox Lake. And we can show them that we mean business, because not only did we create those plans, but we also have our brand new park and the investment that took. Right now, we're working on the second phase of it, which is a public pier that'll help us get 25,000 boats that are on the chain of lakes and get them to dock and come and walk around our downtown. So these are all different stages that we're working on. And honestly, none of this would be possible if it was just me. It is the mayor, it is our department heads, it is our administrator, it is our trustees, it is our planning and zoning commission, all coming together for the greater good. So having them work with me has just made it that much more fun and that much easier.
So with everything you've got going on, and you have a lot going on, that represents some element of change. And I know sometimes village boards could be apprehensive to change, and not just village board, people in the community. And I'm probably a shining example of that where I live. I don't like anything changed. But so when there's new development coming in, part of it is a sales process or educational process to the village board to get them on board with, hey, things are changing, but here's what's happening. How has that been in Fox Lake? Has there been an element where you've had to work forward?
So yes, yes, there was one of the changes for that development that I was just telling you about, the 154 unit market rate apartment complex, was in a commercial district. And a lot of trustees saw that as phenomenal commercial opportunity. Well, it was maybe 10 years ago when there was a Dominick's right there, and that was a high driver of foot traffic. But as we all know, Dominick's closed. So this vacant space became an extra space storage space, which is great. It's a productive space. It provides storage opportunities we need it here. We've got a lot of small garden homes. But that's not a foot traffic driver. So that's not bringing in a ton of people. There was no access from Route 12. You couldn't see it from Route 12 because the grade changed. So it took a lot of communication and education that we should reconsider the use of this. Unfortunately, our old our old comprehensive plan allowed us to take some creative interpretations of that area. And that, plus the developer who partnered up with the property owner, just finished building in a nearby town as well. So we scheduled where we took the trustees and the mayor to go see the product that was being proposed for here. So not only were they able to understand with studies that we had done in the area, market studies in the area as well, that the highest and best use was looking at making this more of a mixed use area. So we were able to, with market studies, show them and educate them on that, as well as bring them to the developer's site and have them see the proposal and understand that this was a quality development that was coming into town. They didn't want studios, and he didn't build studios. They're all at least 1 bedroom apartments, up to 2 bedrooms with dens, garage units. So they were able to see all of that and realize that, this vision of what we had 10, 15 years ago has changed with time, and that is okay. And so with it, we built trust with that whole process. And they've been, like I said, very supportive of it. along the way. It is in a TIF district, so there was also a redevelopment agreement that was done to help support the project, because it has been a long time since investment like this was been in the village. And with that, there was a concern of the schools, and we partnered with the schools. They were involved the whole way. We're making sure that they are receiving funds for students that are living in there, so they are not taking a hit as well. But it's the relationships and the partnerships that I've created since I've been here, but it would only be possible because we have a mayor who values the rapport and the relationships of the schools. He went to these schools himself, just a few years ago.
But you have a strong mayor in Mayor Schmidt. So, Jodi, I'm looking at the time. We're just about all out of time here, but we could do a whole podcast just on TIF districts and the importance of building rapport. I think we sat together at the IML last year, or
Yep,
the TIF
we
district
did.
talks. And one of the big takeaways that we got from it is the importance of communication and dialogue with all the stakeholders. And that's how you really make a successful TIF. And that sounds like exactly everything that you guys have been doing in Fox Lake. But Jodi, one of the cool things too is listening to your whole career progression. Is as a kid, you wanted to be an advocate and a lobbyist and advocate for good things. And throughout your career, whether it's the deaf and hard of hearing as an ASL interpreter, or whether you're a management analyst with the fire department in Gurnee, or in the economic development department in Gurnee, or now in Fox Lake, you're still an advocate for really good things and the village residents, and you're making a difference in Fox Lake. So it's cool to hear your story. I wish we had more time, but I'm glad you were able to join us on the ILCMA podcast this week. Another great example of an ILCMA member doing great things, and not only are you doing great things, you're a great example to people that are entering the profession that are maybe taking a non-traditional route of it's never too late to join local government and make a difference in a community. So Jodi, thank you so much. Before we wrap up, was there anything that I didn't cover that you wanted to cover?
No, I just want to say you're absolutely right. It's never too late. Thank you for the opportunity. I feel honored that you have selected me to interview for this podcast, and I appreciate all that you guys are doing to help educate and provide awareness of what we are all working with together. And knowing that, I watch some of these and just again want to say thank you, because sometimes it reminds me we're not alone.
And you know what, your passion for what you do and everything you're doing, I think, is an inspiration to those listening. So Jodi, thank you so much.
Thank you,
And
Jim.
we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you, everybody. Bye, everybody.
Well, Jodi has such a fascinating background, where she came from and how she took those skills and kind of those contacts and involvement in government and turned it around, and then fire department management analyst, then moving up, and now in Fox Lake economic development. Sounds like she in community, she is just rock and rolling over there. Sounds like, and a lot is always going on in Fox Lake over the summer too, because Chain of Lakes, it's such a busy place.
Well, and they just completed this park project that opened up. It's one of the few areas of public access on the chain of lakes, and they put a band shell there and swimming, and it's beautiful. They've done a great job, and they're taking full advantage of that and everything else. Apartment complexes and construction. Like there's a lot of activity going on in Fox Lake. So good job, Jodi.
That's awesome. She's great. So with the interviews wrapped up, we have one more piece of business to get to that makes me a little bit sad, but nothing negative. Big announcement that Jim Moran, the one, the only, will be stepping away from the podcast. This is his finale episode with me, our 15th, which I'm proud of. And Jim, why don't you let everybody know what's going on?
Sure. This podcast has been so much fun, and I got to be honest, I'm really lucky. This came at a point in my career where the motivation and enthusiasm that other people that we've been able to talk to over the last 15 episodes, which is about the last year and a half, has really made a big impact on me personally. Every single conversation I had, I've walked away with new knowledge and things I'm able to apply professionally. And with that, my career and just things at work have grown every day. I feel like I've got a little bit more on my plate that we've got going on, and it's all good stuff. but you reach a point where not only professionally, but I'm also a dad and my girls, and like I'm done with school now finally. And I thought that was going to free up some free time, and it's just everything else is now needing more time. And prioritizing, first of all, my family and my girls, my weekends. I try to really spend time with them and be a present father, but also professionally at work. Things we have so much going on right now, and what it would take to be involved at work and to do this podcast justice, I just was running out of time, and it was time for me to step down and turn things over. And I got to be honest, like the future of this podcast, it's only going to get better and keep growing. And Melanie, you can't go anywhere, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for us, but
Yeah.
you're in the driver's seat for a
I
while.
want to go. I don't want to go.
Yeah, you're doing a great job, and it's been fun to work with you. Like everybody
Yeah.
knows, our history goes back decades. And
Yeah.
how cool was it? We're able to work together on this podcast.
Yeah. For
Right.
those of out you that don't out of there that don't know, like Jim and I used to be roving reporters in the city of Chicago in our younger days. And then fast forward a couple decades plus, and here we are. So this has been a great experience for me. Enjoy you tremendously. Love your enthusiasm. You have helped to build this up to what it is. And I do think that every one of us needs to work towards consistently moving things forward and making improvements and freshening things. And that's just the way of the world. So, but I feel like together we work together to build something that's pretty special that does serve the local government community, and it even serving you as a host where you've had the chance to learn more, and I learn stuff all the time on these. I think this is a really special production, and I'm grateful that you were with me, Jim.
Oh,
Thank you.
and Melanie, real quick, not to get all mushy, but I look at, prior to government, you and I both had our radio and broadcast and news careers.
Yeah.
And I can't think of anything else I'm really more proud of. And I've been a part of a lot of shows and podcasts in the last decade. I don't think anything's been as meaningful as this. So
Aw.
it's been a pleasure, working with you, being able to work behind the scenes to come up with ideas and all that stuff. So it's been great. People like Dawn Peters at ILCMA have been wonderful to work with. The presidents and the board at ILCMA have been very supportive. And I've said this before, it's a great organization of all the professional organizations. Like I think I'm on my fourth career, not my fourth job, my fourth career. All the professional associations I've been a part of, in each iteration of my life along the way, nothing comes close to what ILCMA does for its members. So it's been a pleasure to be here. But
Yeah.
a pleasure working with you, Melanie. This is great. But the cool thing, it's not like we're not going to see each other. Like we'll still be at conferences. We still work together on other stuff. So it's just, in the future of this podcast, what's cool, I don't know if we're going to announce it today or the next podcast
We
who's
are. We
coming
are.
up.
Should we keep them in suspense and make them watch the next episode?
I think that might, what I'll do is, the hint is, this is somebody,
Okay.
if I could pick somebody to replace me, it would have been this person, the perfect person to come in. And I'm excited to be a fan of the podcast. And I'll be listening to the 16th episode when it comes out to hear the start of something new.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. So yes, we're going to leave you hanging. So we will have a new co-host, but we bid Jim a very grateful farewell for helping, and looking to see you around at upcoming events. So that'll do it for today. So definitely tune in next time to learn who the new co-host for Local Gov Stories is with myself, and wishing everyone a great day. Thanks for watching or
Thank you,
listening.
Melanie.
Thanks.